Hey everybody, I've been talking about real people and their paranormal stories, and I am Paranormal Extraction. So today we have Crystal on, and she is going to be talking about the possessed boy. So I think you're going to really love these, okay? They're all new. If you want to do it, let me know. So, hey, Crystal, I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much for coming on. Oh, I want to let everybody know that Crystal works with Paranormal Extraction and with me, actually, and executive of what do we call you? Executive
assistant.
Executive assistant. Anyways, and so of course we both have a lot of stories, but she wanted to come on today, and this is one story that I actually have not heard, okay, and it's pretty fantastic and bizarre and scary. So Crystal, where everyone knows you now, where are people going to find you, and tell us a little bit about what you do so they know.
Thank you, Zoe. Indeed. So you guys can all find me usually on Instagram is the best way to find me. There you can find how to contact me through DMs. You can find information about the services that I offer, which are psychic readings. Those are my most popular service because people always want to know what's going on in their lives. I also do paranormal work. I also do other metaphysical work such as healings, like Reiki and hypnosis, and I'm certified for everything. So please visit Instagram. It's Crystal's World, CRYSTALS, 3_world, like Disney World.
Right.
And go ahead and DM me there. Any of you that have any questions, or if you're interested in looking up a service or you want to know anything about it, I'm always there to help with any questions you might have. And that's the best place to find me, again, is on Instagram.
Yeah. You're going a little slow, I'm just telling you. On the
I see that.
but we're having a little problem, so we'll try this out. But anyway, I want to let everybody know she's really good. And I will put all the information so you guys will know where to find her. So let's talk about the possessed boy, the killer boy. Go ahead and tell your story, girl.
Okay, well, this is definitely a really scary story. Zoe mentioned that she hasn't heard it before. I just have so many stories, you guys. Someone recently asked me, how do you have so many stories and they're all so scary? And I just said, ever since I was really little, I just feel like I'm a magnet for paranormal things that go on around. So some of us are really sensitive, or we're just like very aware of seeing like that other side or things that other people can't see. So this story goes back to when I was in my early 20s or my mid 20s. I was pretty young. And at that point in my life, I really hadn't established myself as like consciously knowing that I was able to feel, with the paranormal, or to work with paranormal other side or activity events, things like that. And I really hadn't even started professionally doing my like psychic work either.
Right.
It was more of a hobby and stuff, and like kind of stuff that I was interested in and like learning. But I mean, always have had a huge passion and interest with paranormal stories. But I didn't realize that, hey, you're one of the people that can help people, right?
Yeah.
So this story goes back to that time, and I was doing a nanny job, my first nanny job ever. So I have done a lot of childcare work too, guys. I know lots about kids. This was my first nanny job ever. And on my first day, I'm going to refer to the character in this story as the boy because I want to protect his private information.
Yeah.
Everyone can say anything online nowadays, and I just want to be respectful of that. So I'll refer to him as the boy. So I was hired to take care of this boy and his siblings at the time, and as a graveyard shift. So the mother was working overnight, the single mom, and my shift was to be working overnight. Now, one of the bigger conditions of this job, it paid very, very, very well, like more than any of my teaching jobs. So I was like, hell yeah, this is so, exciting. Well, there was a catch. The boy, unfortunately, had some major trauma, emotional, and super, super intense behavior issues, psychological issues. And it requires somebody that's really patient and really on their, toes to work with these kinds of children. So my first day, and he was a sweetheart, I definitely saw some of that behavior coming out. By the end of my shift, I was dead tired. I mean, I sat on the couch waiting for the mom to come home with the little children. They were watching TV. And I didn't fall asleep. I would never fall asleep on a job like that. But I did kind of like rest my eyes a little. Like, the kids were sitting there in front of me. I knew they were safe watching TV. But I just started to rest my. I can tell you're going to laugh, Zoe.
Yeah.
Because she knows what's coming next. I've already kind of explained a little bit about this. I closed my eyes and I could still hear everything, still aware of what's going on. But I just felt that, or maybe I even seen a shadow, but I felt like something was looking at me. I opened my eyes, and the boy standing there with a Michael Myers knife just inches away from me, like he was about to stab me. So that was my first.
I mean, we're laughing about it, okay? We are, okay, because we have so many stories that we just finally just start laughing. But I mean, this is scary. Okay,
it is scary, and I don't mean to.
Come on, I mean, a kid is standing in front of you with a Michael Myers knife, a big knife, getting ready to stab you. I mean, that is serious.
Right, absolutely.
I mean, that is scary.
Yes.
So, what did you do after he was standing there with Michael Myers knife?
Well, obviously, I removed it from him, and I had to be really firm with him. And I sat him down with me and I said, "You're not getting up until your mother gets home. This is how I'm going to address it. If you need to go to the bathroom, I'm going with you. If you're not, this is what you're doing until your mother gets home." So I kind of, I had to take it really seriously with her. And of course, tell her, "You're going to need to lock your knives up if you want me to come back."
Right. Oh my God.
That's a
come
given
back. Anyway. I can't even believe you did.
Well, so I just felt like, first, this was the beginning of it. So selfishly, and I was young, and he was really good. And I had holidays off and, get to just have fun with these kids and take them to the park. It was great. It was a great opportunity. So, yes, I did continue to go back, and I ended up working with this particular family for a few years. As we got into the swing of things, we did gain or build this sort of trust with each other, the boy and I, and a deep love, very affectionate and sweet, and that's kind of how I was able to work with him and get him to kind of release some of that behavior, or at least act better sometimes. Well, going on, maybe into 1 or 2 years later, after I had observed so much more of this kind of behavior, not just with myself, but the schools would constantly calling on him, this and that, right? So one night he started telling me that he was scared. I put children to sleep at night, and he didn't want to go to sleep. And he would say, "Can you stay in my room with me?" And I would say, "Well, I can read a book to you. But one book would turn into 2 and 3, and then before you know it, it's way past the kid's bedtime, and I can allow that." So I just had to make him comfortable and put night lights on. Well, finally, as this went on and on for months, he finally started telling me why he was so scared. At this time, he was about 8 years old. And I think I would ask him too, "Why are you so scared?" "Oh, I have nightmares." "What about?" "I don't know, I just get scared." Well, he finally told me that he was afraid because he would see this scary man in his room. And he said he was an old man and wrinkles, and kind of described him like that. So I again tried to do some things to make him feel comfortable, but knowing what I knew, even though like I said, I wasn't a professional at any of this paranormal stuff yet, but I had my own experiences, and I really don't like to disregard children's stories, because they're not always making stuff up, and also because of the mental health aspect of it. Sometimes when people are psychotic or they're taking psychotic medications, it can make them have delusional visions and stuff. So I always wanted to make him feel like he was validated in what he was experiencing,
Yeah, but he wasn't on psychotic or that kind of medications. Because if he was, then how could you say
He
that?
had to take ADP medication.
Well, that's not going to make him see some old man that's a ghost.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, I don't know because I don't really. At the time, it wasn't like as knowledgeable as I am now about like how these medications are.
Right.
You know, I was really young, so but yeah, I just tried my best to be supportive, but also I didn't want to like project the idea of, oh yeah, there's a man in your room, but I am hearing what you're saying. You know what I mean? So I just tried to accommodate him that way, but he kept telling me over and over and over, right? So when I would talk to the mom about it, she was a really loving, caring mother, but she was so busy. Her career required like so much of her attention, and not that she wasn't attentive to the kids, but sometimes the vibe I got with her was like, what's what I hired you for? You know?
Right.
That kind of vibe.
Yeah.
So she was paying me very well. So I'm, hey girl, I got it. But it went on for so long. So finally, it was his birthday coming up. It was his 9th birthday, and mom had to work that evening, but she did get him a little cake, and she wanted us to all celebrate before she left for work. So this evening, it was really early still. It was probably about 5 p.m. or so. It was getting ready to head out, and we barely had enough time to just all sing happy birthday to him, and she had a gift that she had for that. Well, everything was normal, as I would say, and she lit the candles on the cake, and we all stood around him, and she turned off the light in the kitchen. And as soon as she turned off the light in the kitchen, he just fixated his eyes on me, like direct eye-to-eye contact with me, made me kind of uncomfortable, because it was just this hard stare, and there was like, I don't know how to explain it. It wasn't a blank stare. It was very intense, but I knew that wasn't how he looked. And his appearance started changing too. Like he just had this whole energy come over him that was not him. And we was singing happy birthday to him, and then when it was time to blow out the candles, he wouldn't even blow up. He was just like, can you see me looking at you right now?
Yeah.
Okay, he was looking at me like this.
Ew.
Yeah, and when she turned the lights on, and she goes, blow out your candles, I gotta go. Like, she was oblivious to what was happening, because she stood behind him. And she was just always that kind of mom that's so busy that I don't think she would have even picked up on something like that. So she's like, well, I gotta go, kid. Bye, happy birthday, see you tomorrow. And she left, and he still was like that. And then finally he started going, Miss Crystal, Miss Crystal. And I just told I knew something was happening at that point.
Ew.
But I didn't want to distract. I didn't want to like get the attention of the other children,
right?
The other siblings.
Sure.
So I told them, "Hey guys, blow out his candles for him. He's okay. He's just having a hard time." And I said, "Come here." And when he came up to me, he grabbed my wrist. So my wrist, two of them, so hard. He was only 9 years old, and he was not a big child. He was very thin. But he grabbed my wrist so hard and so, like, with so much power and strength, and it hurt. And I said, let go.
Oh my God.
And he wouldn't let go. And you know what? Something came over me at the same time as well. Like something had come over him.
Ew.
And I don't know what it was, Zoe, but it wasn't bad for me. But I said, I had to get really firm with him. And I kind of like yanked my hands out of his grip. And I said, you let go of me now. And I wasn't talking to him. I was talking to something else.
Yeah.
I'm getting chilled. It wasn't him, because I would never talk to it. It makes me even sad to think, like, I would never talk to a child like that. But it wasn't him. So I didn't know what to do, but I was still trying to remain calm for the other children, and also for me, because I didn't want to freak out. I'm here with these kids. I can't leave.
Right.
So he did let go. You know, I yanked my hands away from him, and I said, sit down right here next to me and do not get up. If you need to do anything, like go to the bathroom, you need to tell me. And you stay here until you're ready to act right. And then I gave him one of his birthday gifts, which was like this little toy truck or something. And I said, here, play with that. I was thinking that he would come back to his senses and be okay within a few minutes. He sat there on the floor, and I watched him all night long. I mean, hours. And with the little truck just going like this back and forth and just staring at it and not saying a word. Like that for 4 hours.
Ew. Ew, it's like something out of like some horror movie.
Now, down the hallway, like I said, he stayed in that one spot, and I kept like asking him questions. I would say, remember, I'm gonna call him the boy. So I would say, boy, are you okay? Yes, Miss Crystal. Boy, do you need something to drink? You want some more cake? No, Miss Crystal. Are you feeling better? Yes, Miss Crystal.
Whoa.
Do you remember what just happened? Because we need to talk about that. No, Miss Crystal. Just putting that truck back and forth on the floor like that.
Ew.
Now, there was a back.
Yuck, but wait.
I know.
Yuck.
I know.
Yuck. This is reminding me of The Shining.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm getting like, it is. Okay?
There was a bathroom, where we were sitting down the hallway, there was a bathroom downstairs that the kids would use. And I would use because, like, you know, it was an overnight shift, so sometimes I would take a shower there and stuff. And that's the bathroom I would use. Oh my God. And he was just so fixated, but all of a sudden he looked over to where that bathroom was, and the door was open. And he just stared. And I go, what are you looking at? And he said, that man's in there. The old man's in there. And I said, what is he doing? I'm getting chills. And I said, well, what is he doing right now? And he said, he's hanging from his neck.
He's what?
Hanging from his neck.
Gaining from his neck.
Hanging from his neck. Like,
ew, hanging from his neck.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I said, how is he hanging from his neck? And he said, he's stuck to the shower. Like if he was like hanging from the shower head. And I said, okay. And I said, is he looking at you? And he said, yes. And I said, well, is he saying anything? And he said, no, he's just looking at me. And I said, okay, well, tell him to go away. I said, no, actually, just don't even look at him. He's not, act like he's not there. I didn't know what to do. I was young, right? So it was their bedtime, and I'm like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Creepy. And I used that damn bathroom.
Yeah, and plus you don't know anything about what you know now. So,
right.
I mean, you've had your own experiences, but nothing quite like this.
Yeah. So I took them all upstairs to put them to bed. The other siblings had a room that they shared because they were close in age to each other, and then he had his own separate room. I didn't even attempt to turn the lights off in his room. I just said, look, I know that you had a hard day, and it's been kind of weird, so I'm going to let you sleep with the lights on. I said, you don't have to turn the light off, okay? He said, okay. And I said, we can leave the door open. And I said, go to sleep. I left the lights on in the hallway, the bathroom. The little other children, they weren't too scared, so I let them sleep with their light off. But all the other lights upstairs were full blast on, no night lights, just the lights were on. And I just felt like the light needed to be on, and he was like on board with that. And I told him, I need you to stay in your bed and close your eyes and get some sleep. Do not come downstairs. I said, if you get scared, just, hold your teddy bear, say a prayer, you're going to be fine. But don't, you need to get some rest. And he said, okay, Miss Crystal. I went downstairs, and something told me, turn on all the lights, every single light in that house. And I don't know why, maybe to release the energy or something, but something told me to open the doors, like front door wide open, back doors wide open, because I really don't know, but it did help me feel a little bit safer when I did that. And then I sat there, this was about, 9 o'clock at night or so, from 9 to 10, a couple hours. I sat there thinking, what's next? What am I going to do next? Mom's a single mom. She's not a religious person. How am I going to address this with her? Like, I really didn't know, right? The only thing I could think of was to go home in the morning and talk with my parents about this.
Right, because your dad actually has had paranormal experiences too.
Oh, my dad had a lot.
Right, so he'd understand.
He would understand. Plus, my mom too. Like, she hasn't had as many experiences as my dad and I, but they're religious people, and my mom was always like having our houses blessed and things like that. So she would give me some good advice about stuff like that, and also like how to talk with the mom,
Right.
So when their mom came, so the sun came out the next day, and I turned all the lights off, and I went home as usual. I didn't say anything to mommy. I didn't know how to say that to her. So your kid is seeing an old dead man, taking his shower, and he fucking attacked me yesterday. So I went home, and I couldn't wait to come home. As soon as I walked in the door, which was pretty early in the morning, my parents were both home, sitting on the couch, and my grandparents were visiting, and they were also sitting on the couch, and they all, I knew something was wrong. I thought they were going to tell me, someone died, because they were all just kind of, gathered together, and it was really quiet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, sit down, we need to talk to you. And they're like, don't get scared. And I was like, hey, well, I need to talk to you too, and you don't get scared.
Oh my God.
And they told me that this is how they started telling me their story of why they were scared. That night before, which was the night that everything happened with this little boy, my parents were sleeping and my grandparents were sleeping, and around midnight, they heard a really loud, they heard really loud sounds, like someone was trying to break into the house. They heard banging on the doors and on the glass windows.
Wow.
And they even felt the house kind of shake, rattle. So they were absolutely 100% sure that someone was breaking in the house. So my dad got up to kind of look around, but there was nobody there. And then he went outside, and there was no one there. So we had this neighbor, TJ, that was really close with us. My dad called TJ, and he's like, hey, can you come over and walk around the property with me? I just want to make sure there's nobody around. Or did you guys hear anything? And he said, no. And they walked around, nothing, right? So my dad went back in, and when he went back in the house, my mom she was holding this big wooden cross. There was this wooden cross. It was a piece of artwork it's really solid wood, and they used to hang it above the front entrance of the door. So when you would walk in, this big cross was there. And when I say big, it was about almost 2 feet tall and wide.
Oh my God.
Solid oak wood. And my mom was holding it. I mean, you couldn't just hold it, you had to hold it with both arms. And he was like, what are you doing? Why did you take that down? And she said, this was over there, 12 feet away from where, and my dad said, but why did you take it down? And she said, I didn't. I found it over there. And this must have been what was making all that sound, all those noises. And it woke up my grandparents too. They were visiting, and everyone was just like, well, how did that happen? And apparently they, and this is after midnight when this happened, they tried to put it back up, and they did an experiment where they would put it up and drop it like this to say the nails gave loose or something. Well, it wasn't just in the nails. They had extra hardware to hold this thing up in the wall because it was so heavy.
Right, you said they had it bolted in.
They had it bolted down pretty well. I mean, they thought they wanted to fall on someone's head and kill them, then they'd get sued.
Oh my God.
So they had it very well secured to the wall.
Sure.
And it wasn't loose or anything, but they would drop it, and there was a mat right at the door that was pretty thick. But every time it would fall, I mean, you would hear it, but it wasn't banging or shaking the house or anything. It was just like on a pillow, And they did that several times, okay, well, let's try it a different angle, and nothing was making sense that this thing could have made all that noise, right? They were pretty sure that's what had happened. And so my mom said, we called a deacon, and someone's going to come from the church, and they're going to now help us bless this house again. It's already been blessed. Well, deacon came over, and we all, went through the house together doing the prayers and doing the blessings. And he, at the end of it, he said that he did feel some residual energy, but he said that, he said, I'm going to be really frank with you. Something evil did not want that cross on your wall, and it threw that cross off the wall. There's no questions about that. There was no other possible scenario. That's what happened. That was his assessment. And he said, if I need to come back to this house for any other reason like this, then it's going to require a full exorcism on this house.
Now, so do you believe that thing followed you?
The reason why, Zoe, is I've had other paranormal experiences, including demonic or dark spirits and stuff, ghosts that throughout my whole life, right? And it could have been connected to this, or that. But why at night that I experienced such heavy activity at that other house, and then after midnight, remember I opened those doors. Maybe when I opened those doors, it like really cut out.
Right. Yeah, totally. Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Again, at the time I wasn't doing. If it happened now, I'd be doing an investigation and talking to you and other people. But it was just me back then. I didn't know everything yet, so I can only assume. I mean, it makes the most sense to me, just because of the way that it all happened in that order and the same night. That something definitely went to my house, my parents' house. There were several other little things that would happen sometimes after, but nothing to get too much into. But I will say this. There were a couple of times after that experience that my mom and dad encountered an old man in the house.
Wow.
Yeah. I want to say something because it just came to my mind right now. When I tell these stories, I want you guys to kind of feel like you're in there with me and you're seeing things the way I can see them. The house, both of the house, my parents' house and that woman's house, the mother, they were not old house. They were new properties. It was a brand new development. Or she bought her home like brand new. I think maybe one other owner had. Something built in the early 2000s. And my parents' home was like built in the 90s. So it was, relatively new. So these kinds of things, they don't just happen in all these old, abandoned, ugly-looking places.
Right.
It can happen anywhere. It's all about the energy that surrounds you and follows you sometimes.
Sure. I mean, wow. I mean, that is just such a creepy story, and I really appreciate you coming on and talking about this, because the reason why I'm doing this show is because I want people to come out of the closet, when they're thinking, oh, I'm crazy, or, I don't want to talk about this, this or that. I want them to say, oh my God, okay, so that really happened to me, and start talking about it. So by watching you, then maybe that's going to help them realize that they don't need to go to the nut ward.
I hope so, Zoe. And thank you so much for always offering me the opportunity to tell these stories. With you absolutely inspired me to tell them on my own platforms as well. And I know a lot of other people have come forward because of that too. And together, like you said, we can just make more and more people feel more comfortable and welcome and supported is the biggest thing. Supported that somebody believes you, right? We know, guys, like Zoe and I and even Dee, we all know that there's people out there that can make stories up. We've met them before, but we have the intuition, and we're not the only ones. There's other people like us who have the intuition to know that, yes, these things do happen to people. They're not always lying. And we're here to help you if there's anything that you guys need to that you want to share.
Yeah, absolutely. We just had, recently we just had a woman contact us, and you're going to her home tonight about some serious, serious stuff. Isn't it tonight?
Actually tomorrow.
Okay.
Tomorrow.
All right. Well, we'll probably have you on about that story too.
I hope so.
Maybe.
So it'll be a really, really different experience, and yeah.
Well, so we'll see about that one. Well, anyways, God, I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you. And everybody, I just want to say you've heard another story. Come out of the closet. All right. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.